All right, we talked about weight loss, and the big question is, what about the meals I've been doing for this low carb? So what I'll do is start adding a few of these videos of different meals that I do. One that's very easy to do, it's very quick, and it's very tasty, is meatballs. 40 years, I've never made meatballs from scratch until a few weeks ago. But love this recipe. Co-workers have tried it, loved it. My son loves it, actually. I'm making some now for him because that's what he wanted to ask for dinner. So I'm going to show you how I make my meatballs from scratch. To start with, as you'll see, I just have some regular beef and maple sausage. Now, I know what you're thinking, maple sausage. It's got to be high carbs. Actually, it's not, which was a surprise to me. It's actually showing, for example, this is only showing 1 carb per serving, only 6 servings per tube. Yes, it's Jimmy Dean's, but I've used Johnsonville and it's been great too. Okay, now, when it comes to meatballs, what I add in here is what I like to eat. But you can flavor them however you would like. Very easy. Simply, you got your beef, you got your sausage, you cut them into about 4s from their tubes, okay? And you equally mix them into a bowl like this, as you'll see I'll do. And really, that's probably the hardest part of the most, I shouldn't say hardest, but the most intense part of the whole ordeal is just mixing it in and making sure that it kind of works out to be equal, you know. Wash your hands before you do it, because typical food etiquette is, you know, it's the flu season, you want to avoid any bugs or anything. Plus, it's just good hygiene when you cook. Now, like I said, I'm cutting these up in 4s and then mixing them. I'll mix them all in the bowl. Now, this, you'll see, this takes about maybe 5 minutes to do. It's not that intense, and it's fairly easy. Now, let me show you exactly. This is why it's going to take a little longer, because I'm actually going to show you a few things here. As you see, that's 4 of them in there. Equal beef, equal sausage, of course. Now, what I do is take my seasoning. Now, I'm from the Mid-Atlantic, so if you're from the Mid-Atlantic, you know what this stuff does to food. It's great. Old Bay. You don't have to put a lot on there. Actually, I always say, don't use the spooner, use the sifter, because you don't have to put too much to bring out good flavor. So, a little bit of Old Bay on it. This is my recipe. Now, this here is pretty interesting. I picked this up at a Family Dollar. It's called Soul Food Seasoning. It's actually got paprika, salt, garlic, black pepper, red pepper, and other spices. It smells like something that you would actually put more in fish or a heavy meat tenderizer. So, put some of that in there as well. A little bit more than the Old Bay, though. So, as you'll see, I've coated the top of this. Why? Because I'm about to add the second half to it. So another 4 patties. Now, the reason I do it this way is so that when I mix them together, that it all blends together instead of just being on one side. So that in the end, you know, it's evenly seasoned through. When I'm gonna make a giant meatball, basically, and then make smaller meatballs. Like I said, this is very simple. And this, I'm not using eggs, so you know, whether it matters or not, But some people use egg for their meatballs. I found that doing this way, I don't need to, and that the consistency is fine. So, doing that, get rid of that trash. All right. So now, what I'm gonna do, of course, again with the Old Bay and the soul food seasoning that I picked up, and I will say this stuff is good. I just found it a few weeks ago, and it's actually pretty good stuff for the meatballs especially. I've actually used it with pork chops as well, and fried chicken tenders I made with Parmesan cheese, and it works great. So now here comes the fun part. Take your hands. This is where you're going to get hands on it, and you're just going to mush it all together. Just make a one big meatball. Doesn't take that long, just not even a minute really. And you're mushing this meat together, squishing it until you feel that it's nice and mixed together. Beef, pork. Could you make this all beef? Yeah. Could you make it all pork? Yeah, you could. I choose to blend both of them together. Gives it a good flavor. There we go. So, all right, now, what you do, take a piece of meat off and roll it together. Make about golf ball size meatball. That's what I use. Now, while I'm doing that, what I'm doing, I'm now warming up my skillet. On a scale of 0 being off, 10 being the highest, I put it at about between a 6 and a 7. And I use spray cooking oil, like Pam or a generic or what have you. Because of the fat that is in both the meat and the sausage, you really don't have to put like olive oil or any type of standing oil in there, because when it starts to cook, there'll be plenty of oil available as it cooks, just because of the fat. Okay. Now, like I said, just making my meatballs about a nice golf ball size, and then be ready to go. Now, as far as cooking is concerned, the cooking part is actually fairly easy. I found that setting it on between 6 and 7, the oil, and putting the meatballs in, then I of course put a cover over the skillet. 2 minutes. Do it for 2 minutes, then flip it on the other side another 2 minutes. You're going to do this for a total of 8 minutes. And yes, 8 minutes is more than enough. If you put a cover over the skillet, you do it for 2 minutes, and just keep rotating it every 2 minutes so that it doesn't burn on one side, you'll come out with some very nice meatballs. And they will be fully cooked through. So, like I said, this is about it takes about 20 minutes. 10 minutes prep, and about less than 10 minutes cooking time. And there you go. And then at that point, you'll have your meatballs. So, something that's real quick and easy. Could it be a meal? Yeah. I make it as a snack. I take it to lunch with me a lot. My coworkers love it, so I take a lot. And they actually are good the next day. So, if you don't eat them the same day, you can save them. I usually put them in a Tupperware dish and just They keep well for, they'll keep for a couple of days. And you can easily put them in the microwave, warm them back up, and they're just as tasty as they will be when I finish here. One precaution, you know, of course, cooking with the skillet and everything is okay. Again, about the oil, don't put standing oil in there. You're going to find yourself burning it, which I learned from the first time that, you know, I didn't need it. I was cooking it like I do my fried chicken tenders or the pork chops with the Parmesan cheese. With this, you don't have to do that. There's enough fat in the meat to create more than enough for you to be able to cook appropriately. Other than that, it's fairly simple and straightforward. Once they finish cooking, I usually put them in like I said, a Tupperware dish lined with paper towels, so to absorb a lot of the excess fat, and so they're not as greasy and stuff when you go to eat them. All right, so let's go ahead and let's cook these puppies up. Right now, my timer's telling me we're at 11 minutes and 20 seconds. So that's saying in 30 seconds, when I start putting these in play, we should have meatballs done. And here you can see what they look like. All right, as you see the skillet there, I've already sprayed it. I'll spray a little bit more in it. You can feel the heat. Now, for you that have kids, I will say kids do love this. It's quick, it's easy, and it's adaptable to other situations. Like, let's say you want to make meatballs in spaghetti, you know? And you try to at least space them out a little so that they have room of their own. And voila, there you go. Now, what I'm going to do, and so you don't have to sit here and look at this, I'm going to stop the video, and then I'll pick it up with the end result. But basically, these are going to cook for 8 minutes in here. And I'm going to rotate them every 2 minutes on their side so they don't burn. And then you'll see the final results, okay? Okay. Now, right now, we've already flipped them over once, so this is the midway cycle, so you'll just see how it's done. Now, see a little bit of smoke, nothing major. And you can see how a lot of the fat is made, a lot of the, you basically have like a gravy going on now here. So if you want to make something gravy, this is, you know, you can use the excess for that. So, you notice I'm using 2 spoons. I found that this actually works a lot easier than trying to do it with a fork or spatula. As you can see, flipping these over. And, you know, you may not be able to flip it on all sides, so if you flip it on the side that was on first, that's fine too. You're just trying not to overcook it, is the main thing. Alright. And you'll see some browning, which is what you should see. And now voila, another 2 minutes. Well, actually another total of 4 minutes, and then we're done. And as you see, this is where they're going to go once we're done. Okay, so 8 minutes has passed. This is the last rotation. I'm just finishing up now. And meatballs are done. As you can see in here, you'll see there's like a nice thick gravy that has developed. So, from the fat, it's melted, which is good. It's something you can use. flavor. You notice these aren't overcooked and burned, which is the other thing you want to avoid. I'll break one of them open just so you can see the inside, and you'll see that it's perfectly cooked through. In just a second. And I put the remaining ones in, cooked while I do so. Like I said, this is why you don't have to, for items like this, you don't really have to add anything as far as adding any type of grease or anything of that nature. Now, what I'm going to do, take one of those that just came out, and you can see, no, it's hot, of course. And you'll see, so this one right here, perfectly cooked all the way through. So, 20 minutes total time for prep and cooking. And you got homemade meatballs that taste absolutely fantastic. And just so you believe me,